From Bugoma, Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA. Today I'm going to talk about something sensitive happening around the world. It's entitled, In the Footsteps of BABEL. For those who prescribe to the Christian religion, there is something we learned about the Tower of Babel. That is a place where people try to build a tower that will reach heaven, and God confounded them by scattering them across the world. Historically, the Tower of Babel is in Iraq, the Great Ziggurat. That is where civilization, in quotes, is supposed to have started and spread to the rest of the world. What was this tower, this building that was going to heaven? It was knowledge, classified knowledge that people would use, that would give them extraordinary powers that they would be able to perform outside the realm of normal humanity. We still have that. We have organizations that are open, but they have got secrets. And those are the secrets. I learned this when I started experiencing whatever I've been experiencing. And this was my very first exposure to witchcraft, one-on-one. This was my very first exposure to paranormal activities. And yes, because I've been going through some literature, some things in on videos, I got an interest. I had a library that I was collecting about things that were happening around the world. And that's why I started from the beginning talking about this world is not the way you see it. There are paranormal capabilities that are secret, confined to certain organizations. Yes, and in the process of collecting, having a library, that's why my computer is always under attack. I cannot use it. I think there are those who are interested to delete everything. There was a time when I was trying to use a computer, when I encountered whatever I encountered and I was declared persona non grata in a place where I was, I left the computer. It was slightly interfered with, but not everything was withdrawn. I came back with it, and there were these things that by then the so-called governments were denying, conspiracy theories that they are aliens. Aliens? Those are things that people just imagine. But accidentally, from people who have been studying, those who have been following, they had collected information on certain things. And it shows that the interaction between the aliens and the earth people is not of recent origin. It has been there for a long time. And sometimes we think aliens only come from outer space. No. Some aliens originated here. They were here before us. That's why when you find the beginning in the Quran is different from the beginning in the Bible. It talks of Adam, this person of blood created from earth. given life by Earth, having been created when the genes were there, and there was one particular one, Iblis or Satan, who saw how he was being created and looked down upon him. And when the creation of man was finished, he was told that this man will have authority over you, and he said, no, this thing that was created as I was watching, I cannot agree. And the enmity began there. This is a story that is telling us something beyond what others want to tell us. It's telling us that when our civilization began, there were other civilizations. There have been interaction with those civilizations for a long time. But when we cannot be able to do something about other things, the first thing is denial. It was interesting after a while to get that the declassified material. At the time when there was denial that there was nothing, agree that there is something. Interesting. From nothing to something. People have been chasing Venus across the sky to there may be crafts that we don't understand. Yes, our history is not as clear as most of the people try to define it to us. There are some hidden things, there are some things that people don't know. And there are things that people pretend to know, yet they don't know. Appears like our lives have been influenced with entities that began here before us, and entities that may have come from where we don't know. We all worship. Ask everybody, where does God live? It is up there in the sky. Where is heaven? Heaven is the sky. Where do angels come from? From the skies. There was this man who was studying about the ancient civilization in Mesopotamia, and he came up when they were able to interpret the ancient scripts that they were the Anunnakis. And what is Anunnaki? Anunnaki is those that came from the sky. So we end up in the sky. Could it be technology that has been moving them up the sky? Or could it be technology that may have developed here and moved up there? Governments have had a fast expansion in, what do you call it? Technologies. And they will deny. But surprising enough, they're always caught up in some places where they cannot explain. Religions also have the same thing. And I said there are things that are within our system that the scientists have refused to explain or are unable to explain, but they do not want to talk about them. I always look at the description of what happened at, it was in Spain, yeah. And it is put a specter of Mary descended on the town, and there was a lot of heat that was making the water evaporate after a long rain that looked like it had been caused by that, to talk about the future. And I wondered, what is a specter? To us, we were told, because when Christianity came to Africa, everything was defined as evil, and they were ghosts. And anything to do with a ghost was evil. Until now, when another surprise came again. Who is God? They said, God is a Holy Ghost. Ghost? Yeah. Leaves everybody perplexed, isn't it? What is the driving force within you? We shall talk about we talked about the mitochondria in your body, the powering cells. But apart from the powering cells, what is there? Others will say the spirit. But when you look in the Bible, it says, especially I like the part where they talk about Jacob, when he has admonished his sons, blessed some, and left others hanging like Reuben. He will be unstable like water. And before they could appeal to whatever he was saying, he lifted his legs, put them on the bed, and his ghost left him. So, there are paranormal powers, there are paranormal abilities that are within the earth confinements, that are in the knowledge of certain entities. That's what's called secret knowledge. Why am I talking about this? The time I started encountering the situation I have, at first I could not understand anything. There was a time when there was pressure. You could hear like somebody is telling you, you are praying, you are told, don't pray. And now that person is not talking visually. That's when I realized they were making a paranormal connection. One could be able to talk mentally from far. And you hear as if he is there. And it brought me to one thing. We'd been hearing of the so-called conspiracy theories. And in these conspiracy theories, they're supposed to be aliens. And we are told there was somebody who talked about aliens and it was exciting. And science fiction, sci-fi came up with things and all that and all that. But there was always this insistence, and then there was always that explanation. I will be told of some of the powerful preachers who have got, and I'll be told now what we want to do is we want to get the power of so and so, get the power of so and so, get the witchcraft of so and so, get this, and what do we want to do? I talked about, the other place I talked about Giragita, and this is a tractor beam. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking is people use synonyms for certain things. A tractor beam is associated with aliens. And what do these people with secret knowledge want? There is this idea of certain entities who want to put together the powers of witchcraft, the powers of paranormal entities, and powers that are within, locked within us, to have an individual who will have God-like capabilities. I think that's why what is happening now is happening. God is causing the confusion, whatever we are, because we want to have people from the secretive society who are supposed to have their abilities. I told you there are so many, they are hidden. Others, the scientists tell us they are not there, but they know they are there. For instance, we used to have 5 common senses. Now they believe they are not 5. Clairvoyance and there's what other? telepathy, and there are other senses that are there. We're now coming to accept they are there. We used to say there are no ghosts. There are some haunted houses that have been haunted completely. We now agree they are there. I always talk about this. There was a time I saw in a paper that there were some buildings in China that were made, and due to the number of people who died as they were being made, recent modern buildings, they were not able to be inhabited by their presence, entities that are within that place. So we cannot define what happens when we go. But from that, the conversations that were there, what I gathered was there is something that was in the footing. The building of a super entity. An entity that will have witchcraft and what do we call these other powers that are involved, plus all these things combined together to be able to perform on godlike abilities. Be able to mind read, be able to perform things that will appear to be miracles, and be able to control the multitude. And that's why I said we should be careful. Let's not get caught up in the situation where we find we are worshiping, we are mind controlled, and we never realize that we are under the influence of these super entities or a super entity that may be in construction already. To get all the powers combined, have a superhuman who will operate on a godly level. That's why I said this word is not the way we see it. Have faith. Be cautious. And whenever things come, be they religion, be they what, look at them from the morality point of view and from the legal point of view. Because we shall be brought certain things that bring high performances from an immoral point of view. We call them freedoms, but certain freedoms will oppress us too. For instance, these ones who think of living for a longer time, and the idea is stealing lives from other people to extend their life. In the paranormal world, there is that ability. There are abilities to perform miracles. There are abilities to do things beyond what we can imagine. There are abilities to read the mind, like when I'm doing this, there have been those who have been reading the mind and sometimes trying to interfere. Read the mind. As you think, they think. They get it. The other time we used to be told that those people who do psychology or do what, they would start getting your mind as you start talking. No. I've come to realize that's a lie. When the words form in the mind, before they turn to, you activate your organs of speech, they have already read them. So it's a difficult situation, but it's good because now we have the knowledge. With faith, with meditation, we are able to defeat such a thing, such activities happening to us. Beware that those you let them lead you in your life are not leading you towards that direction. Those leading the governments may not be leading us towards that kind of occultism. Guard your liberty. Guard your liberty. Guard the liberty of your nations. For you never know. Whoever may appear as an angel may be the one trying to get you down that tunnel. Tunnel of a supernatural or supernatural beings that have encompassed everything. I know when I talk like this, many of you are going to say this is a person who is paranoid, schizophrenic. Call me whatever you call me. But listen to this truth that is happening. Beware. Be cautious. Be it religion, be it other beliefs, be it other liberatory things you are told. These are abilities that come from our secret societies. And where you find people are becoming this autocracy within that place. You are supposed to be forced to move like this. You want to join an organization. This is the way, this is the norm, these are the... Avoid. Be independent. Liberate yourself. Don't be a slave to the religion. Don't be a slave to secret material that people bring, secret abilities. Rationalize yourself. Strike a balance. And be on the lookout. This world is not the way you see it. That's my take.